Hey everybody, it's Melissa.
Good morning, and Jenny.
And we are here today in Bakersfield. We are very privileged to have been invited on a toxic tour of the Central Valley. And we just wanted to share a little bit with you guys about what we'll be doing today, because we're here in a large part because of your support. And we're really proud of Parents Against Santa Susana Field Lab being able to be part of the environmental justice community of California. And that by being here today, we are working together for a reform of the DTSC, the Department of Toxic Substances Control, and also supporting other environmental justice communities who have it even worse than we do. And by grouping together, we are strength in numbers. And so, Jenny, do you want to? We'll go over each community that we're going to be at today. We'll do a little video and kind of like fill you guys in.
Can we do it backwards chronologically and talk about the one we're most excited to go to first?
Sure, let's do that. Well, let's tell them what the toxic tour is first.
Okay. So the Toxics Tour is a group of impacted communities traveling around together to other impacted communities to learn about them.
Impacted communities being they're contaminated environments.
Yes.
That are being overseen by the DTSC.
Yes. And there will be two folks from the Board of Environmental Safety, which is BES. That's the oversight board that's supposed to be bringing DTSC into compliance. So they will be with us today too. So I guess logistically, we all get on a bus together, representatives from the different impacted communities, along with folks from DTSC and along with a few people from BES. Mm-hmm. And together, we all go from site to site throughout the day and see on the ground what these places look like, what their impacts are, meeting people from those communities, and we spend the day together. And then at the end of the day, we recap and decide how to move forward in subsequent meetings.
And how the EJ groups can work together to help make these better. And the cool thing is we did this, you might remember, in Los Angeles a couple months ago now. And that was just really amazing. We got to meet some really amazing people, get to learn about how they have the same problems we do, how we can work together to reform the DTSC and make sure that people are protected across Los Angeles. And now, so today we're doing it in the Central Valley. And right now we're in Bakersfield. We're going to go in just a minute when the meeting starts. But what are you most looking forward to today?
Well, I wanted to add that this is also, we won't be attending in person tomorrow, but tomorrow is being followed up by a meeting of the BES, the Board of Environmental Safety, the oversight board for DTSC, where all of us will be participating in solidarity with one another, bringing up issues that I imagine will come up today. So we'll have a chance to get those issues on the public record. So that will be good.
Yeah, that's really important.
The site that we're most familiar with, but it's our last site for today, is a hazardous waste site called Button Willow. And for folks who are familiar with SSFL issues, the reason why we have a connection to Button Willow is because our radioactive waste was sent to Button Willow, who is not licensed.
It's a dump. They have a dump out there.
It's not licensed to receive radioactive waste.
It's not even licensed for hazardous waste.
It's not licensed at all. It hasn't been licensed since 2006.
Running without a permit from the DTSC, running without a permit, taking hazardous and radioactive waste into this dump, which is a problem because there are people who live there. Right. There are people and it's seeping into the soil, it's getting into the groundwater. They're having huge health impacts. Same with Kettleman City, which is out here too, but I don't think we're going to today.
So the interesting thing there are a couple interesting things about Button Willow. I don't know how in depth you want to let me get on this, but
well, why don't we do another video about it when we're there?
Great. Oh, great.
And then we'll kind of post. But that's the one we're looking most forward to. We're going to put a link here in the comments that'll have a report that shows why PSR LA, Physicians for Social Responsibility Los Angeles, also Committee to Bridge the Gap, and a couple other I'm trying to remember which group sued, but they sued the DTSC and Boeing in 2013 to stop them and to get an injunction because they were sending radioactive waste from the Santa Susana Field Lab to Button Willow and Kettleman, knowing that they were not licensed for this, knowing that they were not built for this, and they were not monitoring for radioactive leaks. And the thing that we're really proud of, even though it was before our time, like Marie Mason and Holly Huff and Dawn Klonowski and a lot of other people from that era who were involved, they protested. They signs out, protested in front of every DTSC meeting to stop that waste from going, because they knew that it was going to harm the communities. And the last thing we want is our contamination to hurt other families. Like, that doesn't make sense. We're not.
Because that's what we were facing when I first came into this issue.
Mm-hmm.
We again had to look into documents and realize that the debris from, I believe it was the
Department of Energy.
Yeah, DOE buildings was scheduled to be sent to, again, another unlicensed facility.
In California.
Yep. So this is an ongoing problem. And as there's still buildings that are going to be demolished there, we have to look, what is the end of the line for our contamination? We don't want it to go to another community.
Where it's going to hurt them.
Yeah.
We want it to go to a licensed site where they are required to have huge amounts of monitoring. They build liners underneath the dumps so that way the radioactive waste can't get into the groundwater there. We don't want this problem. I mean, there's really no perfect solution for radioactive waste right now in America. It doesn't exist. But there are temporary situations where it can go at least to a licensed site where they're monitoring. They're super careful that nothing leaks out. Workers are protected. The people are protected. The groundwater is protected. That needs to be the solution. And Boeing wanted to save money in 2013. So they sent thousands of tons to Buttonwillow, Kettleman City, Azusa, and a dump in Lancaster. Then they also sent radioactive rebar metal to metal recyclers out in Sunland Valley. And then they sent radioactive concrete and asphalt from the Santa Susana Field Lab to recyclers in Simi Valley and Ventura. And these were recycled down and put back into the construction materials to be used again, even though they're radioactive, which is the whole point of the DTSC, is when you're dealing with material that has thousands of years half-life and they're harmful to human health at any exposure. I mean, this stuff is like, these aren't like dental x-rays. This is like uranium and plutonium and cesium and really dangerous radioactive material, even in low levels, because this is low rad waste, right?
Low level radioactive waste, LLRW.
It's not high level. High level is actually just fuel, like the actual rods that they use in the reactors. Anything outside of that is called low rad, and that could be the reactor itself. It could be the tongs that they pick up. It's stuff that's contaminated. It could also be the asphalt outside of the buildings where there was a radioactive spill or a fire.
And the implication is, because it's titled low-level radioactive waste, it doesn't mean that the level is low.
Or that it's safe.
It means it's not spent fuel.
It means and it means that it needs to be properly taken to a proper debris site so it doesn't hurt.
It's a classification that can be potentially misleading, probably by design.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, they tried to change it to make it extra low rad. And we're like, wait, if there's no level of healthy radiation exposure, it doesn't matter if it's low rad or if it's high rad, you're going to get cancer from it. And the thought of this material going back into where it can't be tracked anymore, it's got mixed up with new concrete. Now you can't separate out hardly what's radioactive and what's not, except that it's hurting people. So we're super proud of everyone in the community who back in 2013 fought Boeing. We're super thankful for the organizations who essentially slowed down the cleanup.
Yeah.
This lawsuit stopped the cleanup, but that cleanup was going to hurt people. And we care about people. It doesn't matter if they're English speaking or Hispanic speaking. Kettleman City, we're going to learn, is mostly migrant workers, migrant farm workers.
80% is Spanish, monolingual Spanish speaking, and 34% are below the poverty line.
This is what we commonly call in the EJ community as a sacrifice site. It's places where the government has decided the people aren't worth it, and they're going to go ahead and cheaply dispose, because it's cheaper, right? It's cheaper to put it in an unlicensed site than have to pay for all the monitoring and the proper equipment, the protective gear and stuff. That's why the DTSC allowed Boeing to do this back in 2013. Because even then they were rubbing Boeing's back and let Boeing do something reckless and dangerous that the community had to sue and these environmental groups had to sue in order to protect people from. DTSC should have been doing their job, and now it's unlicensed. So these are the kind of sites we're going to see today. We'll keep you updated. really looking forward to seeing all the EJ people. There's so many strong
advocators. Yep.
Yeah, just
it's
people,
amazing and inspiring.
And they're just people in the community who they care, and they've dedicated their lives to protecting their communities, kind of like us, and that's really exciting. It's not so exciting to be around some of the DTSC and BES people who don't really like us, because we're not going to let them get away with hurting people and our kids. Our kids matter more. And
but we're going to ask good questions.
Yep.
And
we're
hold them
polite.
accountable in that way.
We are always, that's our mantra, is always take the higher road with Parents Against SSFL. So we'll be polite.
Yep.
We won't.
But we'll still ask the tough questions.
Oh yeah.
And we'll let you know what the answers are.
It makes people uncomfortable. We
so today might be uncomfortable.
Might be uncomfortable. Great,
we'll
amazing, learning, uncomfortable, exhausting.
Yeah.
It's like being a mom. All right, guys, we'll keep you posted. Thanks. Bye.